What'd he say his name was? Gebatron.
Hello everyone, I am Gebatron. Let's go over Hell Let Loose's newest changes. They're calling it patch 17.1 instead of update 17.1. I think because there isn't a whole lot in terms of gameplay changes, but there is a lot here regardless, mostly quality of life stuff. Much like with update 17, I'll make a separate video with my opinions so this video can stay straight reference material. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that one. Let's get started with changes to the medic role. Time to bandage has been reduced from just under 4 seconds down to 2 seconds. This includes self-bandaging, but is limited to the medic role, as in only the medic role can now self-bandage faster. That's down from just under 3 seconds to 2 seconds as well. Revive time has also been reduced to 2 seconds, down from 2.5 seconds. And downed players are now revived back to full health so you can get right back into the action. You used to get 30 XP for reviving someone, and a lot of players didn't know this, but you also got 30 XP for being revived. These values have been increased to now give you 75 XP. XP earned for bandaging someone has not been changed and remains at 20 XP. Something else that seems to have been changed here is that you no longer get XP for a revive if you have shot the player. So no XP farming from revives. The new medic call and response system has been implemented, as well as new status indicators for player health. Here's how it looks from both perspectives. When a player needs to be bandaged, you'll see the cross icon. Once they go down, you'll see the skull icon. At this point, the down player can click the middle mouse button to request a medic. Once the medic is requested, the skull icon will have these 4 arrows in the corners. The medic can now choose can't make it or en route from their marking wheel. Depending on what the medic chooses, the down player will receive a notification, in this case, fairing tail en route. Medic loadouts have also been adjusted by giving them slightly more ammo and more smoke grenades. You now receive much more XP for destroying important enemy infrastructure. You used to only get 5 XP for destroying enemy spawns and nodes, but now you get anywhere from 50 to 150 depending on type. As a matter of fact, you'll get an extra XP boost if you manually dismantle these structures, as it's deemed a riskier action. Engineers are now able to dismantle their own nodes rather than just the blueprints. Friendly commanders are also now able to dismantle friendly nodes too, so make sure you're being smart about where you're placing them, or upper management might remove them to make room for better positioned ones. Moving on to bipod changes, they say the bipod system has been significantly overhauled for more flexible deployment. The system now detects objects in the player's path rather than relying on hard-coded limits, which means that if you set up too close to a wall or object, you won't be able to rotate as far as before. Pitch angles now reflect the height of the surface you're mounted on, and it allows for a wider range of motion, which we can see here. Now let's take a look at Winter Camo. This was introduced the same time we got Elsenborn Ridge, but it has been expanded to include other winter maps. Here we are looking at some Soviet equipment on Kharkov. And here we see some US. And German equipment on VOIP. The flares actually have illumination now. So now instead of just showing enemies on your map, we get a real on-the-ground benefit to the flares. This will also make it easier to recognize when flares have been fired, so you can know when to check your maps or when your position may be compromised. More maps are getting dynamic weather. Both Foy and Kharkov receive dynamic winter weather, Kharkov being shown here. And Mortain has had its old rain VFX replaced with the new dynamic weather system. Speaking of environmental effects, fog has gotten some improvements on a few maps. You're looking at Driel here, but other maps include St. Marie-du-Mont, St. Mary-Église, Utah Beach, Carentan, Stalingrad, and Kharkov, which you can see now. Next is LOD, or level of detail improvements. Now, I tried to capture this, but I think I did a bad job, or maybe it's just one of those things that will show up more in performance than to our eyes. But long story short is that Expression Games has started working on issues with LOD, and the first step taken was with barbed wire, just making the transition between high detail and low detail when changing distance more smooth and less resource intensive. Some of the technical details are on screen now, but this is also supposed to make these assets work better when viewed through binoculars or scopes too. LOD has always been a problem in Hell Let Loose, so I look forward to more of these improvements. They've also made some changes to Tobruk. During dust storms, the VFX around buildings wasn't great, so that was improved, and bullet and shrapnel damage have been added to building exteriors, making Tobruk feel more war-torn. They've also added more ground scatter and added more muck and scatter inside buildings to help make the environment feel more lived in. The practice range now allows players to access all available loadouts, even if you haven't unlocked them in the game. The new Explore mode has been added, which allows players to, explore each map without having to be in an active match or purchase your own server. You cannot gain XP, capture points, and there is no winning or losing, but you can roam freely, practice your driving by using appropriate vehicles, dial in your artillery skills, and find those really good sniping spots. I also think this will be really nice for enterprising engineers who want to plan out their defenses. 17.1 introduces official DirectX 12 support, which should increase performance. However, if it causes you issues, you can switch back to DX11 via the video settings menu. New RCON abilities have been added, allowing server owners to adjust match duration times and match warm-up periods. You can see the new potential timer ranges here. So expect to see a lot of variation depending on which server you're playing on here until communities figure out what they like. Admin cam lighting effects have been added. Act kind of like filters. Post-match VOIP has been added, allowing players a little more time to make friends or coordinate for the next match or talk shit.
GG's, Cookie.
So that's a ton of stuff, and I think a lot of it is pretty good. But I want to know what you guys think of the changes, so let me know down below. I think my favorite thing is flare illumination, but like I said earlier, I will make a separate video with my opinions, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I hope you found the video informative. Go ahead and pull the trigger on that like button. Check the description for more ways to support what I do here. As always, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.